Um, all of these classes will be recorded and posted. I'm now told, I don't know, I gotta check. I posted to YouTube last D-term. It seemed fine. Mostly nobody watched them because they came to class. But I will post everything to YouTube, or if not YouTube, just Canvas somewhere. But I don't know how to post videos to Canvas so that you can all see them. I can figure that out, I suppose. Is John here? No, I don't see John here.
I am here.
Oh, you are. Good. Okay. So John is our TA. And once I get rolling, sometimes I miss what's going on in the chat. Hold on that. Or I'm talking about something and you guys have questions. If John can answer things in text in the chat, he will. If he can't, then add an appropriate breakpoint, like while say I get thirsty and I take a drink. John will say, "Hey Dean, Bob in the chat has this question for you." So basically John is our chat wrangler during class. John is also very good with Unreal, and we'll be holding office hours. Hopefully, so here's the thing. Tutorials are generally due on Fridays. And I think well, actually I can probably look at this. Assignments are due on Tuesdays. Case study, yeah. So assignments are due on Tuesdays. So you have to do the tutorials to know how to do the assignments. The tutorials are worth 5 points each. So in the past, people have blown off a tutorial or two and still done fine in the class, or at least passed. So John should be holding office hours probably in the evenings, and we haven't talked about it. We haven't scheduled them yet, but probably in the evenings before, or generally I just make it due at midnight. So if I make it due at midnight, I'm guessing sometime between 8 and midnight is when you're all going to be cranking on these tutorials, right? So that would probably be a good time for John to have office hours. For instance, well, I'll get into it, but the first tutorial is due on Saturday at midnight. So probably Saturday night would be a good time for John to have some office hours. Bigger assignments are due Tuesdays generally, sometimes Fridays at the end. And those are big ones. And John may move his office hours depending on when the assignments are due. Let's share my screen. Let's get to this. Let's do the syllabus thing. By the way, I'm already seeing stuff about the Canvas. The Canvas went live about an hour ago, a little more than an hour ago. So it should be there. If you are on the waiting list, you will not have access to the Canvas. If you are on the waiting list and trying to get into this course, I will deal with you after class is over, because I think we have one spot open. So I just go through the list and say, "Are you here? Okay, you're in. Oh, they're not here. Okay, you're in." Right. Also, I have seen that after I go through the syllabus, there are basically two kinds of people in the world: people who need this course to graduate, and people who don't, but think it would be cool. Sometimes, once I go through the syllabus, the people who don't but think it would be cool realize that it's a lot of work, and so they go off to greener pastures. I don't think less of them. I think they're good strategic planners. So by Friday, more spots may open. In fact, many times I start out with more than my fair share of people, and I end with like in the teens. 24 people are supposedly allowed in the class, and that limit is set by how many computers are in the lab. So maybe we can horse trade or something. Okay, so let's share my screen. Okay, here's the syllabus. We don't need sound or video. Okay. And so here's the other thing. I spend a lot of time during class screen sharing, and for whatever reason, the chat disappears sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Currently, the chat is gone for me, so that's also why I need John to monitor the chat. So this is on the Canvas right now. This is the syllabus. As best I know, my office hours are going to be Mondays from 1 to 3, and Fridays 1 to 2. Ooh, maybe I can get the chat. Yes, I got the chat. Okay. Yes, you can use Unreal Engine in FL 222. It's according to IT, it is in there. There are limited numbers of computers in the lab now because of de-densification, and I would bet that it's going to be a rough term, with, I think they're only letting 10 people in at a time. So, and there is no cheating. You guys all signed your pledges. Joe says he got into FL222, but the computer I saw did not currently have UE4 installed. Okay, great. Well, according to IT, they're telling me it is installed. I was supposed to, I don't know, get in somehow, and like screen share with a computer there, and check to make sure that the content folder was read and write enabled, and I haven't been able to figure that out yet. So at least some of them have UE4 on there. Also, supposedly, well, the other thing is In order to launch Unreal, you have to launch the Epic Games launcher and then launch it through there. So if you were searching for Unreal, you might not have found it. You have to basically run their storefront like Steam and then run Unreal from that. So that's a possibility. Okay. The other thing, I'm going to paste this to the chat. We have a Discord server. And I invite all of you to the Discord. Where is my boom, boom, everybody, boom. Discord server gets slammed. So welcome y'all to the Discord server. I've got a couple of channels in the Discord. I generally always have Discord running somewhere. And even when I'm not actually in official office hours, I see when stuff gets posted there, and it sits there. And if I see it, I will generally respond to it. So the Discord is also a nice place for y'all to talk amongst yourselves. What I find is students help each other figure out the goofy horror that is Unreal, because every year, every time I teach this class, every time I've taught Frontiers using Unreal, students find new ways to break Unreal. And that's cool. On the other hand, the more you use Unreal, the more you see common mistakes. So lots of times, so I have a notebook. I think this is it. Yeah, this is my old notebook. Ooh, it's got dust on it. This is my old notebook. Oh, you can't see because I've got the Zoom background. Anyway, it says Unreal there. And it's full of basically, I write down tutorials. And this goes back to Unreal 3, probably, or before. But anyway, I write down tutorials as a way, number one, that's how I learn, is I do it, I write it down, I do it again, and then I can teach it. But it's also where I record goofy, horrible ways that students have broken things. And then like somebody will say, hey, none of my teleporters work. And I'll be like, yeah, I remember that from 3 years ago. That same thing. And then I go running off to my notebook. And 3 years ago, I wrote down, it's because they have a space in their file name. And that took us 5 hours to debug 3 years ago, and now I don't need to debug it. So anyway, help each other, be kind, hang out on the Discord. You'll also, I guess, here, I'm on the Discord. I've got tutorials as a place for questions for tutorials and general questions for Unreal. I can add more stuff if we need them. Okay, so books. There's 2 books. Oh, I didn't get a pattern language out. Let's see. Do I see a pattern language? It should be on the shelf over there somewhere. I don't see it offhand. Okay, well, a pattern language is a book from the 70s, written by architects. Okay, I will. uh, and it existed. It was written before there was a World Wide Web. Um, it would make for an amazing website. In fact, it is basically a website. It is hyperlinked via go to this page and go to this page. It's kind of a choose your own adventure of reference books about architecture. Every book I see about level design at least mentions a pattern language. I think a lot of game developers have it on their shelf and claim to have used it, or at least were told they should buy it, bought it, were daunted by it, and stuck it on their shelves. You're going to use it. Yay, because it's an assignment. It's not the kind of book you sit down and read chapter by chapter. In fact, there are sections, but it's meant to be a reference book, not like a dictionary, rather than a book with chapters that you read. So you will be using it as reference, and essentially, what it is it describes architecturally what makes for good things, right? So if you look up, say, a kitchen, it will describe what a kitchen is and what should be in a kitchen. There will also be references to, like, it might say it should have a pantry. Well, what's a pantry? See page 52 for what's the basic properties of a pantry. It should have uh, uh, windows facing facing east. I'm making that up because I don't remember what kitchen says. And then you can look up windows facing east. So yeah, Nick. So here's the thing. I think even the bookstore has said use this on ebook. I would think so. So a pattern language is the kind of book that you stick 8 billion post-it notes or little post-it tabs, and you flip between them for each project. I think and again, I haven't seen it. Maybe you could post, Nick, those links. I don't know, in the Discord. I I wish I had a secret channel that I could not see, but whatever. So anyway, getting back to the ebook version of a pattern language, I think the ebook version or a PDF is going to be just a kind of crappy scan of it, and it's going to be less useful and more pull your hair out than the actual book. Plus, you can be a cool level designer with that book on your shelf. I actually have 2 copies. One is in my office at work, and one is for home, so that I can reference it wherever I am. And it's kind of thick and heavy, and I didn't want to carry it back and forth from school. Also, an architectural approach to level design. I have I've had for I gotta turn this off. Let's video. Let's choose virtual background. Let's get rid of my pirate ship. Now you can see my house. There it is. in all its glory. Okay, so this is the book that I've had for years, an architectural approach to level design, except it's first edition, not second edition. So, and when the bookstore said, "Hey, there's a second edition," I don't think the students can even buy the first edition anymore. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, they can." On Amazon, you can still buy the first edition. The second edition is available as an ebook. I have it as an ebook. It seems fine. It's fine as an ebook. The second edition has exercises, which I have not inflicted upon you. Although the funny thing was, the first edition on the back cover, it says, includes chapter exercises that encourage you to create spaces that tell stories, facilitate action, or promote socialization. And there are no chapter exercises in this book. So they lied. They lied. Anyway, now in the second edition, they have included those exercises. So you're going to read most of this book. We're going to skip a chapter here or there, but it's a good book. Then some games to play. Every game that I assign, and I may assign more, just in case. I reserve the right to assign more games if something comes up. If we're talking about one particular problem, and I'm like, "Oh, this this game actually illustrates exactly that. Go play this." I may assign that. PT is not even a game. It's a, what does PT stand for? Somebody knows. What does PT stand for? I keep forgetting. It won't. Playable trailer. Thank you. It's not even a game. It is a playable trailer for a game that you don't know what game it's for until you finish the playable trailer. It came out for the PS4 only, and I'm going to spoil it. It was Guillermo del Toro and Metal Gear Solid guy. What's his name? Somebody? Kojima. We're making Silent Hills, starring the Walking Dead guy that we got in Death Stranding. I guess they're all friends, although Guillermo has gone off to other places. And as far as I know, well, he was in Death Stranding too. So anyway, PT was a playable trailer. So it was very exciting. We were all going to learn. Yeah, the Mads Mikkelsen appreciation game. Norman Reedus, thank you. So anyway, PT came out and it got everybody very excited because it was very, very scary. And now and then Konami and Kojima fell out, and they fired Kojima, I guess, and that game was canceled, and now you can't get PT. And yes, apparently on eBay, the only way you can get the game is on a PS4 that downloaded the game when it was available. So you can't actually play this game. Luckily, I have played this game And I have made a YouTube video of me playing this game and talking about the level design of this game and the architecture of this game and what's going on in this game. So you get to watch a YouTube video of me playing the game. I think I was streaming it and students were showing up. So I also talked to students from a previous version of this class. But it's worth looking at because basically the whole thing happens in 2 rooms and a corridor. And you can get a lot of gameplay out of 2 rooms and a corridor, mostly a corridor. So you're going to play that, or you're going to watch me play that. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is on Steam. It is, let me just check. I think it originally came out for Unreal 3, and then I think they did an updated version, Vanishing of Ethan Carter Redux, which they basically remade the game for Unreal 4. I played it back in Unreal 3 days, so I'm going to play it again in Unreal 4. It's on Steam. Let's see. Go to the store page. Well, it says it's in my library, so it won't tell me how much it costs. Looks like $10.
Maybe? I think also if you buy the original, you get the Redux version for free,
yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, that's how I got the Redux. Is I already owned the original version. So so play the new version. It's just the same game in a better engine, so it'll be prettier, I think. And one of the things is the vistas, the very long looky-loos at the whole place will actually run better. And then the third game is Assemblance Overture. Let's see.
I did have a question about that because I think there's 3 different Assemblance games.
Okay, so let me pull them up. And note, Assemblance only has 1 S. Oh, it's Oversight. Sorry. So there's Assemblance. Let's see. Assemblance Oversight. Let's go to the store page. Store page.
No, there's Assemblance and then Assemblance Oversight.
Right. So Assemblance is the first one, and Assemblance Oversight is the sequel. And basically, I've played the first one, and I haven't played the second one, so they're very similar. The second one, he's better at, or they're better at making stuff in Unreal, so I figure it'll be better to look at. It looks like you can buy both of them for $5. 2 or 3 items of this. Buy this bundle to save 20% off the one item you don't have yet. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. It's $10 for Assemblance Oversight. And the one thing I don't have is the original soundtrack. So anyway, so play this. And again, I will play all of these in case you have a computer that can't run them because they're Unreal games. Is it unavailable on Mac? I don't know.
I think so. I think Ethan Carter is only Windows.
Yeah, well, don't they have that boot camp thing for Mac?
Yeah, that's fair. It's probably somewhere.
Yeah. It's $20 with Redux is free. Assemblance Oversight is $10. Okay. Well, once again, what I always say is don't buy, like, I know y'all have money for books right now, or maybe you don't, I don't know. but between now and when they're assigned to be played by, there are any number of Steam sales, or Epic Game Store gives 2 games away every week. I can't tell you how many games I'm getting for free every month just from paying attention. So please wait until like the week that it's like, okay, we're going to play this week. And then go buy them, because and if you come across them on sale on Humble, on GOG, on whatever, let us know, and let me know, and I'll pass it on to the rest of the class. Save y'all some money. Also, Nick, the Hows and Whys of level design I have cut for this year, so you don't need to read that. Although, read it. It's good. But it's not assigned.
Gotcha.
That's from last time. I added architectural approach, which I have been using myself, but not making you guys read. And this year, I was just like, make everybody read it. It's good. It's better than Hows and Whys. He's not a great writer, Hows and Whys guy. Anyway, okay. So that's the required books and software. Also, you note, in my email, I told you to buy that $5 gray box pack on the Unreal Learning store, or the Unreal Asset Store. That's a bunch of shapes and basic static meshes to make gray box stuff, gray box versions of your levels with. It's useful. It's only $5. You will have more tools in your tool belt if you use that. Also, what I find is everybody's levels, everybody uses all the free assets that come with Unreal, and they're incredibly detailed and photorealistic, and generally make everything look a certain way. So you might want to, these are more basic stuff. So by using this stuff, we're gray boxing. It's just no textures, no materials, that sort of thing. So they're more versatile. So $5, it's worth it. Okay. Onward. Purpose of the course. To recognize that every room, building, and neighborhood tells a story. Going back to a pattern language, they basically start with nation states. What are the properties of a nation state? And they work down to, I think, what are the properties of a chair? And they keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Think of it like Google Earth. So we're going to look at essentially rooms, buildings, and neighborhoods, because buildings don't exist in limbo. So we're going to tell stories with spaces instead of words, which is hard for writers, but is easy for artists. So we're going to hopefully mix and match some of the skills there. We're going to understand the basics of the much older discipline of architecture and apply them to telling stories in virtual worlds. Guess what? Architecture has been around for thousands of years, ever since we started making shelter. So maybe they've learned a few things that our 50 or so years of game development hasn't figured out yet. More and more game studios are hiring architects as level designers. The author of our book is a level designer who was trained as an architect. So knowing a bit about architecture will hopefully be helpful. And we are going to use visual tools to draw players. We're not going to draw players. We're going to draw players through stories and guide them from beat to beat within a comprehensive world. So the idea is that you move through a virtual world using both conscious and unconscious clues. So if there's a sign with a big arrow on it, you know that's the way to go. If we take away the sign and just use light and darkness to indicate a way to go, sure, some people are going to go rushing off into the darkness. But generally, you'll follow the light, and you'll follow where things of interest are. So, what are you going to get out of this class? First off, a familiarity with UE4. You're not going to be an expert at UE4 by the end of this class. 7 weeks is not going to make anyone an expert in UE4. Hopefully, it will be yet another tool in your tool belt so that, yes, weenies, so that when you get to an interview and they say, do you know anything about Unity? You say, yes. How about UE4? Because we're changing on our next project, we're going to UE4 or 5 by that point. Oh, yeah, I know UE5 too. So that makes you more employable. Also, just makes you more well-rounded about how, like, Unity has its own foibles. UE4 has its own foibles. You're going to learn some of those foibles. We're going to get basic workflow down. You don't start by opening Unreal and saying, okay, let's make a level. There's some ways to go before we do that. And that goes right on to the basic concepts in architecture. The first thing I have you read is Architecture is Elementary. You may find it childish. It talks about basic shapes. But these are the basic concepts of architecture. So the PDF is posted in the Canvas. Give it a read. It shouldn't take you long. I'm sorry about the quality of the PDF. That's the best I can do for scanning my actual book and not making you buy another book, but having you just read the chapter or so that I wanted you to read. So give that a shot. And we're going to be working with architecture probably the first 3 weeks or so, well, through the whole thing, but specifically looking at buildings and concepts of architecture for basically the first half. And then understanding the techniques for drawing a player through a level, things like weenies, things like lighting, things like tableaus and vistas. Basically, tableaus, vistas, and weenies are the big things that we're going to be shooting for. And we're going to tell a complete story through environmental or spatial storytelling. The joke since COVID has been that we've been making, if you're in game development circles, there's been all sorts of Twitter goofs on environmental storytelling. So everything from the sketchy van with candy spray painted on the side, that and then you just post that picture and say environmental storytelling. Or there was one going around of a Wii U covered in a thick layer of dust. Environmental storytelling. Kind of joking that it's a hacky way of graffiti. You know, the old Left 4 Dead, and we'll look at this. The Left 4 Dead safe rooms had graffiti on the walls that was environmental storytelling, and everybody was like, if you read all the graffiti on the wall, it tells a story. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's not just zombie killing. There's a story. There's a bunch of stories. And that was hailed. And then at some point there was a backlash. Anodyne 2 has this hidden in a back alley. What does that say? I can't even tell what that says. What's it say, Henry? Environmental storytelling?
Yep, it says environmental storytelling.
Okay. So then since COVID, people have been taking pictures of like super obvious if they were in a game, we'd say it is super obvious environmental storytelling. What a hack this game developer is. But it's real. So spray painted on a street, just it says plague here, right? And if that were a zombie game, we'd all be like, oh please, what are you doing? Just that's really on the nose. Let's at least try and be subtle.
That's 2020 in a nutshell, though.
Yeah, it is.
So many things are like, this is terrible writing.
Or the old man who got on the news because somebody had spray painted Black's Rule on his driveway, and it turned out he did that to be all sorts of racist, because no self-respecting Black person would spray paint Black's Rule on some old guy's driveway. Why would they do that? So anyway, the whole environmental storytelling will kind of look at where we've been, what the current thinking about it is, or at least was before last March, and now maybe we were right originally to like be that obvious, because real people aren't subtle. They're not. So we're gonna tell a complete story, maybe not through graffiti on walls, but other ways. So you're gonna play the games, read the texts. Every week there's a quiz on the texts and or games. So right now the first quiz is up. Let me take you through quizzes. Quizzes are generally due on the Friday of the week when you should have read that stuff, right? So if we go down here, I have a calendar, right? So today I've got intro and workflow, right? But on Friday, you should read the Architecture's Elementary PDF. You should read the book, what is it, An Architectural Approach to Level Design, Chapter 1 and Chapter 3. And that doesn't mean by Friday at midnight, when the quiz is due, you should have read that. That means by class on Friday, you should have read those things, because that's what we'll be talking about on Friday. And then you have until midnight to take the quiz. The quiz is 4 questions long. They are straight from whatever you have to read and or play that week, whether it's on Tuesday or Friday. I'm not trying to get anyone. There are no gotcha questions. I'm basically taking some major points from the reading that I want to make sure that you've at least looked at, and asking you a question. Each question, there are going to be 4 questions per quiz. Each is worth half a point. They're all short answers, so you have to type something. If you type a full paragraph, at some point Canvas says that's not short answer, that's a full paragraph. Short answer is only this many characters long, and it stops. So we can't see wherever, I don't know how many characters Canvas has decided short answer is. But in the past, we have gotten people writing an essay question for a short answer. That means we can't, if the however many characters is, since the dawn of man, people have been building cave buildings, and the answer is the last 3 words of your very long thing, we will not see those 3 words. And that means actually John will not see those 3 words, because John is going to be doing this. So when John goes to grade these things, he will see, since the dawn of man, people have been building buildings, and the answer is vision. Vision is nowhere in that stuff that you have written. It will be incorrect. Sorry. So if it's every single answer is no more than like 3 or 4 words. So just write 3 or 4 words. Second, I put in what I expect the answer to be. If I have capitalized the word and you don't capitalize the word, Canvas will tell you you got that one wrong. Don't worry. Canvas auto corrects everything as you do it and says you got 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 4. And you go, I got half wrong, but I'm looking at the answer. It's the right answer. It's because it's not exactly what I put. Somewhere between it being due on Friday night at midnight and we reveal the answers on Monday night at midnight, John will go through all the quizzes, and John, being a human being with intelligence and emotion, will say, oh yeah, that's right, or well, that's the idea is right, okay, and we'll grade you, give you right answers, credit for right answers that software will not. So if you fill it out and it says you got a 0, don't panic. John will fix it by the following Monday. That said, you can only take the quiz once. So if, say, today you just opened the quiz and started taking it to read all the questions, you should leave that tab open, because once you close it, oh, okay, I will fix that. Sorry. So apparently the architecture PDF is currently locked. I will unlock it, or I think it's a file for last year's class in like last year's classes. structure and the link doesn't work. I don't know. I'll fix it. So anyway, so don't open the quiz until you're ready to take it. You have as much time as you want until Friday at midnight. So if you don't open it till 5 minutes before, then you have 5 minutes to take it. Sorry. But also, you can have the book open on your lap and page through it. That's fine. It shouldn't take more than 5-10 minutes. Okay. So next, quizzes. That's the quizzes. The syllabus. Oh, jeez. Okay, have I screwed up? Because this should be on Canvas. I'm looking at it on Canvas. Let's see. Canvas. A20, A01, syllabus. Oh no. For whatever reason, the old syllabus is still there. Okay, let's fix it. I don't know why that. Okay. Deleting. So apparently, even though I updated it, copy, it didn't update on yours. Control V. Okay. That's the new one. Save. Okay. Okay. Try it again on Canvas. It's the new one up there. The very quick way to check is it should list TA as Chenkai John Zhao in the very right next to my email address.
Looks right to me. Okay.
I just fixed it. Okay. So going back to screen share. Okay, so that's quizzes. Next is tutorials. Once a week. The tutorials are designed to get you to learn the Unreal Engine. The first one, here, let's stop the share and let's share Canvas. Share screen, let's share Canvas. Okay, so this is the current syllabus, right? So let's go to assignments. These are all your assignments. Let's go to tutorial 1. And this, I had originally made this due on Friday, which seems short. So Saturday by midnight. If you know how to do Unreal, then doing this tutorial, if you've worked with Unreal before, shouldn't take you more than an hour. If you've never touched Unreal before, just getting used to Unreal will probably take a couple hours. So this is the simplest thing I ever ask anybody to do. It's basically 2 rooms connected by a corridor. There should be a working door somewhere. There should be a working elevator somewhere. Now, as a working door, you can either have it slide into the wall, or you could have it hinged and open. It can open when you approach it, or you can walk up and hit a use button to open it. Either way, I don't care. The elevator, once again, it should go up. I'm going to give you a hint. The same principles that make a door work make an elevator work. In general, if I get on the elevator, I should be able to walk onto the elevator and then have it go up. Simple enough. If I jump off the elevator or if I go onto, I don't know, a ledge up there, it should go down. Or, again, I'm not picky. If it stays up, then I should, when I go on it again, it should go down, right? It should work more than once. Okay. So because it's very easy to make a door or an elevator that works exactly once. It should work every time I approach it. So working elevator, at least one static mesh. That's basically to introduce you to the concept of static meshes. And finally, all surfaces should have some kind of material on them that are lined up and scaled to the surface they cover. So I'm not asking for an amazing amount of, let's see, we got chat. Yeah, single-use elevators. So I'm not asking for I don't know, door trim and although all that stuff can happen, and vegetation on the walls and such. But basically 2 rooms, a corridor, a door, an elevator, and they have materials on them so that they look like what they are. Right. And there should be enough light so that I can see. A work light is fine. In general, what I do is each of these tutorials is worth 5 points. I generally have 4 or 5 things that I'm looking for. So 2 rooms connected by a corridor, that's 1 point. A working door, that's 2 points. A working elevator, that's 3 points. A static mesh, that's 4 points, and all surfaces have materials, that's 5 points, right? Sometimes I'll only have 4, and that 5th point will be for beauty. So if you make the whole thing pretty, you get that 5th point. This way, you can decide, like, if you can't get your door working, but you've got everything else working, you can still get 4 points on this. See what I'm saying? If the elevator just won't work, but everything else is there, turn it in. Right? The other thing that happens in this class an awful lot is it works on my machine syndrome, where you've been working on it and it works perfectly on your machine. And then in the process of exporting and making an executable, things happen. Yeah, things happen. And I go to load it and nothing happens. If I go to load something and nothing happens, that's a problem because I can't say, well, he tells me these things are all there. I got to see it. So the easiest way I found to avoid it works on my machine before we get to the whole process of basically compiling and packaging a final game is just make a video of, walk through your 2 rooms connected by a corridor. Show me that the door works more than once. Show me that the elevator works more than once. Show me a static mesh. You can even talk over it, record a little video, throw it on YouTube, and your submission is a link to that video. And then I watch the video. I know YouTube works. I give you a grade, and everybody's happy, instead of me pulling my hair out, having to download and try and make all your levels work. Okay? So I've got, and you will see this over and over, I include in the assignment basically video tutorials for every aspect of the assignment, as close as I can get it. In this case, I think I gave 2 on making a working door, because one is kind of more detailed, and the other is very, very easy, but might not work as well. The other thing is, like, I think the static meshes is from 2014, which is many, many versions ago. So the actual interface in Unreal may look somewhat different, but how static meshes work, yes. Well, Matt asks, is the video something we should do with every assignment? I will specify, but basically all the tutorials except the last one are videos. And yes, all of these videos use Unreal blueprints. Is there a recommended screen recording software? I don't recommend anything. OBS is probably the easiest one. I use OBS. I used to use Fraps. My main thing is use whatever you're comfortable with, that will produce a video that you can upload to YouTube. If YouTube is somehow blocked, you can upload the video itself. I think there is a limit in Canvas based on size, but I'm not sure what that is. So let's move on. Stop share. Hello again. Am I still recording? Just checking. Yes, I am still recording. Okay. So getting back to the syllabus. So there will be one of those every week, a tutorial. There's 5 in total, to get you ready to make your final project. We're going to do a case study of a building. You get to choose the building. I think last time I taught this, there were probably 15 people in the class, so we had plenty of time. When I go over the assignment, I may limit you time-wise so that we can get them all in one class. Then, essentially, the second half of the class is you're going to work in pairs to design, basically, because why working in pairs? We get a little version control. We get a better level, basically, with 2 people working. There's more that can be done on one level by 2 people than one level by 1 person. So that starts with a pitch. and then a design doc, and then a gray box version, and then the final level. So that final project will actually be 4 different assignments. Everybody's going to pitch their level. I will once again ask for feedback from everyone. Please ask questions of each other. Help each other. The design doc I'll go over in detail, and it's based on how we used to write level design docs at the company I worked for. The gray box version, honestly, I was talking to guys from Epic at PAX East last year, and I said to the one guy, yeah, I teach level design. And he's like, so just gray boxing? And I'm like, well, we do gray boxing, but we go beyond that. And he's like, well, but level design is only gets you to gray boxing. And I'm like, well, not always, because lighting is a part of level design. Yeah, PAX East pre-COVID. Yes, it was the last place where people gathered. So anyway, there's an art course called environmental art, right? That takes you the last bit, that, you know, the art of making a building, the art of making a neighborhood or a room or lighting, that sort of thing, is part of environmental art. And it is related to level design in that we use lighting and hero buildings to pull people through a level. So we do some level environmental art, but that is not our focus. So assets can be bought or used from the free assets pack, and that are available on the Epic game launcher. And, you know, I'm not going to grade you on how pretty your buildings are, because I don't expect you to make pretty buildings. I expect you to use the architecture to tell stories. So it's kind of a fuzzy line between level design and environmental art, is basically what I'm saying. And if you do have assets that you created for other classes that you want to use in here, great, awesome. You designed 35 chairs in the shaker tradition in, I don't know, Maya. Great, bring them in. We'll have a chair room. But you don't have any assets available to you, so you went to the asset pack that's available in the Learn section of UE4, of the Epic game launcher. That's fine. So then we're back on our playtesting protocols. Okay, so playtesting. You gotta play test 2 games. It's really easy in B term because that's when we have Alpha Fest. It's less easy in A term because people are still just getting started making their games. So there should be stuff. That'll come through as email if you were around last year or the year before. Basically, an email goes out to everybody saying, hey, we're this team, we need playtesters. Yes, there's a whole protocol for how playtesting works with COVID. I think we've established a download, basically a file repository where you can download and play locally. In your cocoon, you can play on your machine. Of course, that gets back to it works on my machine problems. So we'll see how that goes. And then you Zoom with the creators and you share your screen with them while you're playing so that they can watch you play. Or maybe they'll have their own way of doing it, but it certainly won't be, hey, come to the lab at this hour and play my game. So there you go. And come to class. Also, one thing that I'm going to ask of y'all is at the beginning of class, somebody remind me to start recording because I always forget. And first person to remind me to start recording it gets a game code for some Humble Bundle game that I don't want. Might be an awesome game that I already own. Might be a crappy game that no one's ever heard of. It's been both in the past.
Can I participate in this part then? You can say
first,
no.
But I only give one game per person. So once so the other thing that I say is, have I given you a game before? And everybody's like, no, you never given me a game. And then I gave you a game. I kind of think last D-term, a lot of people lied and got more than one game, but I don't remember who I gave the games to. Just remember, just help me out and remind me, and I'll give you a crappy game or maybe an awesome game. You never know. Because I get the Humble Bundle monthly every month, and I go, what is that? What is this game? Oh, I own it already. Oh, I guess I don't need that game. And then it sits there until I give away a code. Okay, so points. Also, just want to specify the written work, type it up if you're handing things in, and drawings. You'll be asked to make maps or drawings, and I'm fine with taking a cell phone picture of a drawing as long as I can see it, right? So, and this has been a problem where it scribbles on a piece of notebook paper, and then there's a glare on it in the picture, and it's clear I can't make heads or tails out of what I'm supposed to be seeing. So just help me out and make sure that if you do scan in drawings, scan them in if you can. If you can't, take a good picture of it. Also, when we start handing in files, do not call your game My First Level. Your assignment should be named your last name and the name of the assignment. If you're working with a partner, it should be your last name dash their last name dash name of the assignment. There are times Unreal, if your file name is too long, Unreal will barf when you go to compile it. So you might want to go with, first 3 letters of your name, first 3 letters of their name, name of the assignment. It's basically so that I can tell it's different from the other 15 levels that I've gotten, the other 15 files. Because I've gotten assignments where I've gotten 6 my first level. So don't do that. Also, we are using, let's see, let's stop sharing. You stop sharing and share something else. Share, you can see my Epic Games. Unreal Engine. Come on, Unreal Engine, load in. Okay, so we are using 4.25.3. That's what should be in the labs. That's what's on my machine. That's what should be on your machine. It is quite possible that before this class is over, they will upgrade to 4.25.5 or something else. We are stuck with 4.25.3 until the end of the term. That's what we're sticking with. Please, please, please do not upgrade, because upgrades may break your level. Most assuredly, if you're on 4.25.8 and I try to load that into 4.25.3, it ain't going to work. So please, please, please don't do that. Especially in the past, I have had final projects come in and they upgraded, and I am working on a deadline. Especially this year, we only have the 2 days off between A and B term. So I have like no time to get final grading done. So I'm working on a deadline and I get to theirs and it doesn't work. And being the good guy that I am, I email them and say, I don't want to give you a 0 on your final project, but your final project does not work. And then their response was, why don't you upgrade? And my response was, because I told you not to upgrade, A, and B, currently it will take about 2 hours to download and install the new version of Unreal. So I'm not going to do that. So either get it working as an executable or take the 0. And I think it was a mess. Anyway, so don't do that. Please don't do that. Okay. Going back to, I wish there was a way to switch between shares. There probably is. I just don't know it. Somebody is going to tell me. Will they upgrade Unreal on the lab computers in the middle of the term? Hell no. They're lucky to upgrade after Christmas and in the summer. And they only do that if we complain. So no, they will not upgrade the lab computers at all in the middle of the term. Don't worry about that. Okay, so the reading quizzes, there will be 6 of them. Each one's worth 2 points, so that's 12 points. The tutorials, there will be 5 of them. Each one's worth 5 points, so that's 25. The case study presentation is worth 10 points. The pitch is worth 10. The design doc is worth 10. The gray box is worth 15 because that's basically your final level. And the finished level with lighting and gorgeosity is worth 16 points. basically because I had to find 2 points for playtesting. So that comes out to 100 points, I believe. That's how somebody double check my work. Am I wrong? Comes out to 100 points. 2, 4, 10, yes. Good. Okay. So, that's the schedule, right? I will have like the case studies I have here. Honestly, I have not double checked those links in the 2 years since I put them up, but I will double check them before Friday. And then all the boilerplate. If you need help with writing, I don't know what the current deal with the Writing Center is. I'm sure they have post-COVID stuff. I would say go to wpi.edu writing to check on what they're doing. I've already gotten a number of accommodation letters. Please, 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 if you have disabilities, go through the office and get your accommodation letter in. I cannot give you accommodations unless I receive that letter. And if I receive that letter, then certainly I will give you more consideration than if I am just told that you have a disability. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty open. Whatever. And we got, man, over half of this syllabus is now stuff that the university requires us to put in. Isn't that a kicker? So that's the disabilities. Academic honesty policies, you're probably seeing them in all your syllabi for all your classes. Don't plagiarize, but for instance, if in 3D modeling you go and download somebody else's 3D model and hand it in for an assignment, that's plagiarism. If here you download somebody else's 3D model and put it into your level, and when you hand it in, say, I used these models from this site, that's not plagiarism. Give credit. Don't plagiarize. I don't mind if you use other people's assets, just give them credit. And finally, there's all this COVID stuff. A lot of it does not apply. Oh, a lot of it doesn't apply because we're on Zoom, because I don't want to die. I know it's selfish of me, but whatever. So just, if you have, I'm sure you've all had to read this. The one thing that I haven't talked about is on Friday, 9/11, we are going to take a walk, first around Fuller, and then I believe I'm going to go to Higgins Gardens, and then we're going to go walk around Worcester Art Museum to first look at the architecture of Fuller, second look at the garden design around Higgins, and finally to walk around the architecture of Worcester Art Museum. Normally, we would then go into Worcester Art Museum from their main entrance, which is not the original main entrance. It's part of an addition that happened later in the life of the museum. And we would walk the corridor to the main section, to the Great Hall, I guess. I don't know what they call it. So yes, you should give credit for free assets on the Unreal Marketplace. I think everything there is credited as to who made it or packages. But if not, you can say found on the Unreal Marketplace and give me a URL, essentially. So the Worcester Art Museum has this big hall at the front of it, which was the original part of the Worcester Art Museum. We cannot go into the Worcester Art Museum this year because, it's closed until at least October. So please, 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 if you are on and off campus, make sure you have scheduled a COVID test at least 48 hours before Friday 9/11, because I'm actually coming to campus. You'll see me in the flesh. It's very exciting. I will be wearing a mask and trying to speak as loudly as I possibly can while you all remain socially distanced from each other across a large field. And we'll walk and talk. I will videotape that as probably not the entire thing, because there's no reason you need to see the videotape of the walk from Fuller to Higgins or what have you. But I will videotape what I'm talking about as I'm talking, and post that on Canvas or YouTube, so that if you are fully remote and not even in this section of the country, you can still find joy in architecture. The one sadness that I have is that we're not going to go into the Worcester Art Museum, because that's seeing. I could. I have a cheap knockoff of a GoPro, but I'm actually going to bring this. Hey. Which is a perfectly fine old 1080p camera. God, it's probably like 8-10 years old at this point. But it's fine. And I've got a monopod to steady it so that it's not going to be shaky cam. And we'll get it videotaped. I always worry posting videotapes of me talking about architecture. I am not an architect. Just letting you know that. I've read some, and I've been studying this for, I don't know, 18 years now. So I guess that's a while. But it's quite possible I'll say something wrong. I do it all the time. And if I do in class, then the next class I'll just say, hey, I found out that thing I told you was wrong. Here's the right version of it. But if I put it on YouTube, it's wrong forever. So hopefully I won't say anything wrong. I'll do my research and won't just make up facts. Let's all do that. Let's not make up facts. Okay. So, any questions? No? Okay. So I also said we're going to talk about workflow today. let me just start that very quickly because I've basically covered it all. Is that level designers don't start designing their level in the engine that the game is. I don't know. Have you been watching this video game documentary series on Netflix? I forget what it's called. Let me Google. Video game documentary Netflix. It's called High Score. Anyway, it's okay. It's pretty good. The thing I like most about it, and I'm on like episode 3 or 4 at this point, is they interview various video game designers, whether level design or just systems design, and then they show them like kind of fake making games, right? But every time they talk about, well, here is how I started, they get out a paper and pencil, right? There's a great section. They actually found Roberta Williams. Roberta Williams was the graphic adventure game designer at Sierra Online in the heyday of graphic adventure games. She designed King's Quest. She designed the Laraboe mysteries. She designed, I think it was called Mystery Manor. Anyway, she had never made a game before. She didn't know how. She played Adventure, the text adventure. And she said, I can make a better game than that. And she said, well, how am I going to make a better game than that? What do I need? And she said, I got out the biggest piece of paper that I could find. I got this butcher paper and I started drawing. And when they interview the Final Fantasy guy, they show him working with pencil and paper. Basically, every designer starts with pencil and paper. Hopefully, by the time you graduate, you will have notebooks of doodles and half-baked ideas and full-baked ideas and whole games, right? And if not, start one this class. The first thing you're going to do is get out your pencil and paper and design your level. And then you're going to write about it. The other thing, as a writer in games, what is the tool? People ask me, what do you most often use? What do you use to write games? What's your tool of choice? It's Excel. It's terrible. If you've ever written text in Excel, it's awful. And yet, most games are written in Excel. Why? Because you need to take every bit of dialogue and place it in some quest or some scene. You need to have a place where you can list every single file when you so you go off to your voice recording session, and every single line of any script is a separate file, unless you're doing a cutscene. So, and even then, sometimes, so the sound person has to have a spreadsheet of what the names of every single file is, and that needs to be hooked up to the actual line, and that needs to be hooked up to the quest, and that needs to be hooked up to the section or the space that it plays in the level design. And then once you get to localization, I need to translate every single one of those lines in however many languages. So I need to add rows under each line for each different language. So in the end, I end up using Excel more than anything. I don't recommend it. In fact, if you ever get to a writers conference, the number one commiseration among drunk writers after the conference is, are they ever going to make us anything better than Excel? These software guys, can't they make us a better tool to write in that will do all the things for everybody else, and that Excel needs to do, but still let us write in order, and so it looks like a story. So you'll find yourself using Word and Excel, hopefully just as much as Unreal. Isn't it funny? We don't bother to train you in Word or Excel. There's no tutorials for Word in this class. We assume you can do it. So the basic steps are pitch, design doc, gray box, and I think I give you a little bit more time to do gray box, and then finished level. The big thing, and I'll talk more about gray boxing as it comes up. The big thing about gray boxing is to get a playable thing in engine as quickly as possible so that you can iterate on it. And by playable, I mean navigable. I can move from one end to the other. It has all the appropriate sight lines. So for instance, if there are doors that are closed that stop me from seeing things, those are gone. The doors are there. If there are environmental hazards that are obstacles that I must overcome, those are there. And essentially, I can get the game. If there are sounds, I trigger a voiceover, right? That tells me a bit of story. I find isn't this the weirdest thing? I find the video diary, or the why does everybody record their deepest, most thoughts and feelings and throw them around where they live or work? It's a convention we use all the time in video games, so that we find all these recordings and we learn the ins and outs of these characters. No one does that. It's not a thing. I don't record like how I'm feeling at one particular spot and it's less than 2 minutes long, and then I throw away the whole digital recording device and buy a new one. What is that about? So anyway, we're going to make a navigable environmental gray box, and then we're going to light it correctly. We're going to decorate it. It's going to be beautiful. You notice I haven't said anything, and I have 4 minutes left to do this. I haven't said anything about game mechanics. I haven't said we're making shooters. I haven't said we're making platformers. I haven't said what we're making. We're making walkies. We're making walking simulators. I don't want to bother with shooting or platforming, although you could give me an environmental puzzle where I have to get over a pit of lava. That's fine. But don't make a platformer. I want to concentrate on the environment that tells the story, because that's what the class is. Slightly advanced movement. I don't know what that means, but I'm open. I just don't want you getting into the weeds of programming some elaborate shooting mechanism and forgetting about your environment. The class is about environment. Sure, mantling, sure. If you can make it work in blueprints, great. I don't know how to program in C++, so probably many of you are more advanced than I am. I can use Unreal Blueprints. If you want to go in the weeds of C++ or in the weeds of blueprints, because basically I use blueprints to do things like make doors and elevators work, or trigger sounds, or make the wind work. But I don't go deep into any kind of programming. If you do, that's awesome. Use the talents that you have. If you don't know how to do that, you can still do fine. Okay? Okay, I am good. I got 2 minutes left. I will double check and make sure everything on the canvas is working. At this point, if you're in the class, congratulations, you're in the class. You are done for today. If you are on the wait list and desperately need to be in this class, stick around. But the rest of you can leave. Okay? Yay! And I'm going to stop recording. How do I stop recording?
Thanks, Dean.
Thank you.